Hey, what's going on, fellas? Geronimo 22. We're going to make an update. We're going to go back to match coverage, and we're going to change part of the match coverage responsibilities to zone coverage, or we're going to user it, or we're going to make it better, okay? After talking to some people, looking at it with me, looking at it some more, watching game film, like this is the championship game from 2 years ago. This is Demeco's last game as a Niners DC. I had to go back and find out some more information and what's really going on here. And what I think is going on is that we have basically a defense that has taken the match coverage and kind of changed the way it plays to the strong side of the formation. Now, we won't be able to do that in Madden all the time. We might have to actually do it away from the strong side. I'll talk more about that later. Okay, but just want to let you guys know that the playbook has been updated. All the cover 3 skies are gone, except a few. It's back to seam. Okay, so we're playing 3 seam, but we do have to take into account some coverage adjustments that we have to play in Madden. Okay, so the playbook has been updated. It's updated now on the PlayStation 5. I will make another video later on showing all the plays again. Kind of cleaned it up, made sure all those 3 seams are back in there, made sure that we represent what we see on film so far with Demeco Ryan's wide 9, and also I'm starting to look into the Salah version of it as well. Okay, something to just take a look at this play. This is actually a hot pressure. Okay, so we do have a hot pressure out of nickel triple. All right, so this is actually a 6-man rush. It turns into a 5-man rush here, but that's only because the back went out. But it gets the desired effect. But just showing some film in the background that I'm going to go on the field and show you some more. This would be one of the single linebacker pressures right there. Maybe that was supposed to be the nickel, but it was checked down to the linebacker. So you're going to see some stuff here. Here goes 3x1 nub. Everybody loves this formation in Madden. Doesn't work the same in real life. Okay, but take a look at this play here. Look at the safety and the nickel, right? See how they drop out and they kind of get into that window? That's not true match coverage in my book, okay? There's some other examples here that are going to pop up where those guys, let me go back on that for you. Those guys actually don't truly match 2 to the flat with a lot of gusto. And I think that's the theory that I've come up with, and I've talked to some people. It seems as if we're getting really, these guys are relating to 2, but they're still just kind of getting out to the numbers, because what happens in the NFL, right? A lot of big routes thrown on time, right? With 2 going out or 2 running a zig, right? To kind of suck up that match defender. And I think these guys have figured out, hey, and I say these guys as in Robert Saleh, going back to him, to Demeco Ryans, and even Kyle Shanahan. I'm pretty sure he's talked about it with his coordinators and said this would be really tough if you kind of have this seam flat player in no man's land, right? So at first I said, well, we should just play 3 sky. Well, that's not going to work because we still have matching going on with our underneath guys against 3x1. If it's 3x1, we're still getting megs on the backside. And I know this is 2x2 right here, but imagine that was 3x1, right? And we're getting quick matches in 3x1 on the running back to the flat if he goes out weak. So my theory is, let's go back to seam. Let's play seam the way it is. But then also let's be smart about it and realize that we don't have to be robots and play seam because Madden put it in a certain way. We can kind of create the rules to make it a little bit different. So we're going to have fun doing that. And then the other thing is, this is going to apply to quarters coverage as well. Okay, this is what I've seen over the past couple of years. Is quarters coverage applies the same with the quarter flat defender. Okay, so we'll take a look at that. I think Madden actually helps us out by the way they play quarters, and we go from there. All right. This is an example here of it could be quarters or it could be 3 buzz seam, right? Stirred and extra long. We get the double mug look, which again, I've put in the book, guys. I've had a lot of these double mug looks now. But you see these guys get out, right? And then this safety comes down. You know, I don't think it's quarters coverage, because if it's quarters coverage, most safeties are going to play over 2, right? And somebody's going to be responsible for 3. But here, in this case, this safety just sits down at the sticks. He's getting width, he's getting depth, And I think this 3 buzz. I just think what we're having here is the backside safety is just staying on his quarters track. He's not going to the middle of the field. And I think this corner should be reading 2-1, and he kind of gets stuck. And that's why that seam looks open there. But I'm pretty sure this is cover 3 buzz seam. And I'm pretty sure this is the weak side of the formation because the 2 receivers are probably up there. We probably have a tight end, a running back, and a receiver at the bottom. Okay, so that would be the weak rotation versus that type of empty set, just so you know. All right, so again, these are the changes. This is the playbook. This is how we're going to roll. All right, so we'll talk more about it on the field. Let's just jump over to the PlayStation real quick, take a look at something, right? So what I have for you guys in the new playbook, and if anybody on Xbox wants to copy it, I'll give you the chance to do it right now, but I'll make a video later as well. 4-4 is there for you. It's just really a placeholder. It could be used on short yardage. 4-4. 5-2 is a nice little defense. Only 3 plays in there right now. These are only 3 I've seen them run. Nice little short yardage defense. We have the over wide. Understand you can't run 3 seam unless you're running a blitz at an over wide. It's just 3 sky. So I would suggest to use this like on teams that have compression sets. Same thing with over. Same thing. You don't have it unless you want to take the Sam Edge 3 and turn that into a cover 3 seam. You can do that. All right. We can talk more about that later. And don't forget, the other coverages he likes to run is quarters and cover 6 and cover 2. So that's going to show up a lot. Big nickel over G is going to be really good with all the nice little, we'll show more of this later. If you guys want to join the DB room or the coordinator crew in my Patreon, I'm posting video like straight up all 22 with not me talking. Just you can watch the tape yourself if you want to get some tape and just watch it. Watch the defenses in action. Take your own notes. But anyway, there's a lot of safety walking down, either to disguise quarters or cover 6, or a lot of safety walking down to blitz, right? So, but we want to use that here. This is a nice package to use that. Big nickel over G is very nice where you can show that safety walking down and get into something like quarters, okay? So we have that there. We have cover 2. We have our single linebacker blitzes. We have cover 3 buzz seam there. And nickel and over are pretty much the exact same thing here, guys. All right, it's not like there's not much difference with the plays. It's 9 plays. It's pretty much the exact same plays. It's just I use the over defense in Madden against under center formations. It makes life a little bit easier. If you guys have bought any of my Jim Swartz guides or anything, or you listen to me talk about how to play, it's one of the requirements. Double Mug has a nice 9 play package. Okay, we're going to use that a lot, especially with the walk down safety look. Okay. And then triple is going to be there for us as well. So this is going to be some nice 3rd down packages that we're going to use there, okay? Those 6 plays. Very bare bones playbook. You guys can add more to it. 2-man, it doesn't seem like a big play for them. Same thing with 1 robber, but I have it here for you in dime, okay? I think it's necessary versus a lot of spread teams. But we have our cover 6. We have our cover 4. We have our 3 buzz seam. Same thing here. Nothing crazy. No blitzing, right? And then we have Sugar Week. So that's another new one that we added. Those 4 plays are there. So it's very bare bones. I suggest if you want to add more blitzes in there, try to find them, scheme them up, add them to the book. The book is very basic. I'm going to pretty much rock with this book in my league, see how it works, okay? I'm just giving you one more preview here. And then I'll do an official video later for you guys. But if you guys want to get on it right now, Xbox guys, those are all the plays. The audibles aren't even in yet. I kind of redid it real fast, so you can choose the audibles that you want for your system, okay? Just understand, Robert Saleh at the Jets runs more quarters and man, and Demeco seems to run a little bit more cover 3 mixed with cover 3 cover 6. So a lot of cover 3, cover 6 seems like it's a little bit more of his favorite. Maybe it's a game plan thing. And then that 3 buzz, not sure if it's cover quarters or 3 buzz, kind of like the next thing, okay? And then that's that. And then obviously some man coverage. So that's there for you guys. So just want to put this video out real quick, just give you an update. Sorry to kind of like go back and forth, but that's that. All right. So what I'm going to do here is stop the video for YouTube. You guys have it for you. You guys can run it. If you have any questions, let me know. I'm going to continue it on for the Patreon guys. I want to just kind of quickly talk about the technique that we're going to try to attempt when it comes to playing the coverage a new way based off of how we've seen Demeco do it on film, okay? What's going on, Patreon guys? Let's get into the meat and potatoes of this. Just a quick story, 30 seconds here. When I was coaching, and anytime I got a player from the Seattle system of the good old whatever that's called, the Legion of Boom. Anytime I got a DB, especially a safety, I would always ask him, what'd you learn? How is the defense? Whatever, whatever. And they would always tell me there's a lot more rules to the defense than people think. Different ways of playing cover three. It wasn't just three match or three sky. It was a combination, a hybrid, right? They can really kind of mold it to however they felt was going to help them, right? It became its own monster in a sense, right? So that's the reason why I've always thought that this is not necessarily written in stone. So we got to try to find something in Madden that's going to help us and also not be so adjusty that is going to kind of like take away from you just basically trying to stop the offense and what they want to do. Okay, so the first thing is we're going to call three seam here. We're going to call it versus 2x2. And I'll give you two adjustments, two choices to how you want to play this, okay? Of course, what do we have to worry about? We have to worry about verticals of 2. We have to worry about bubbles, okay? And then really we have to worry about zig routes. I think that's probably what people like to do. I think number one, running curls and comebacks are also an issue. And the first adjustment is something that I've already kind of talked about with you guys on Patreon. And it kind of happens to work out for us in this way. We're going to leave, in this case right here, right? We're going to leave one side to be seam and one side to be zone. Okay. And really, it really depends on what type of routes you're getting. Okay. So let's just say, for example, here, we know we're getting a lot of vertical routes, right? A lot of vertical routes by both inside guys. Who's the dangerous guy? Who's the guy you want to take away? Who's the guy that's more dangerous, right? Let's just say it's the left side of the field where the slot receiver is. Okay. We're going to leave this side in regular seam coverage, and we're going to take the backside and try to get some of that curl flat going. Okay. So I called this re-cheat because Wade Phillips actually has this defense. As soon as you put this player into a curl flat, all right, this whole side, him and him, so the linebacker and the corner are going to be in curl flat zone adjustments with you. So what you can do is just user now the linebacker to that side, knowing that you might have to carry this guy a little bit, then you can come off to, carry him down the field, meaning like stay with them for at least 10 yards, 15 yards until the safety can get them, okay? Now, if you always want to make it so like, a lot of times on the left-hand side, we're getting a lot of combination routes. We're getting like high lows, or we're getting zig routes, things like that, where match coverage can really kind of get broken, okay? There's basically the Salem concept where 2 runs a pivot, 1 runs a dig, right? It's kind of a wide open dig for a lot of people. So what I would do is put that side now into that match, into that zone side, okay? I can't get you to Salem, but I can get you just the zig route combination right here. So I'm going to take this nickel and put him into a curl flat, right? And we're just going to play ball from here. And obviously the nickel is going to play the zig route a lot better. And he also kind of got into the window of the over route too. So that's kind of the idea of what we're using here. We're using match coverage to one side, but not the other against the spread 2x2 set. Now, where it gets really fun, in my opinion, is being able to user one of these guys, okay? Now, who should you user? Well, what's the other thing I said you have to worry about is probably RPO. So you get a team that runs a lot of RPOs, you might want to user this player here, okay? And now you do it yourself, okay? And the rules to me are this. All you're looking for are 2 routes that you have to react to pretty quickly. And the first one is going to be vertical of 2, okay? If he goes straight up the field, you need to run with them, okay? Because pretty much we are a seam player still, and we can do that now because we are actually, we're a part of this, we're on this side. Now, when I say run with them, you don't have to run with them all the way down the field, though. That's the fun part. So you need to get your depth early, but you can kind of just take away that quick throw, right? This one I already know the play. But you can also still play curl flat. You can kind of just work back with them, and that's what you see on film. A lot of times these guys are inside leverage, right? And you work back with 2 quickly, and then they let them go, right? Because they want to get vision on the quarterback. In our eyes, we can't really see where the quarterback is looking. But now we can go get a curl, we can go get a comeback, or we can react down to like a shallow or something, okay? So really what it is that first couple steps of just like flying back real quick versus any type of vertical stem, okay? And then after that, if you get some type of inside stem, you could just play curl flat. So when he jumps in like that, I'm already working out this way, right? And then now I can also get into some other windows as well. Not the comeback window, but at least maybe if the number one was running a curl or a dig, I would be in that window. If number two is to work out to the flat right now, we're going to relate to him. We're going to just play like our regular, we're going to play like a curl flat if he just works out to the flat right now. I don't think I have a route like that. Right now, sorry, I don't have two controllers right now. I just want to get through this quickly. But if you went out to the flat immediately, you could just play curl flat. Okay, it kind of happens here in this curl combo where two works in, your new number two goes out to the flat. We're not going to match it right away. We're going to play curl and then react to the flat. Okay, so that's something that we can actually just use that side and just play it out. And then your backside, you can do whatever you want. You can keep him in his match technique, or you could also have him in a curl flat as well, and you're going to play all those things. The advantage of using the nickel, in my opinion, it gives you better control over the RPO game. Okay, the run game itself, as long as you shift your line to the tight end or away from the back, sometimes you should be pretty good. You're not going to be great, but you should be pretty good. And don't worry, we're still going to play enough cover one that we don't have to use the nickel all the time. Okay. Now, the next part of this would be what happens if it's 2x2 compressed or any type of compression type of look. So if you get that type of look here, guys, let's just go with like one side is compressed. If you don't do anything to seam coverage to a compression side, like on the right of screen, there could be a possibility of this happens. Where three goes, they don't show it there. I'll show you the replay. Three goes to the flat. Running back to the flat equals a lot of times the corner getting bugged out and coming and not playing it right. So the corner here, watch him. He comes running down. Even though the ball was thrown, he was about to come running down and give up the two verticals that are going past him. Okay. So you guys know the rule to that, guys. We have to get this guy into a curl flat or a hard flat or any type of other flat that's not, I can't do it here because of the safety. I should be able to do it actually. It doesn't matter. I can also go hard flat sometimes. I can go underneath coverage. I can go over the top coverage. All that does is do what? Put the corner into a deep third. He doesn't have to worry about getting glitched. So anytime you get a compression set, guys, we're just going to play curl flat. We're going to play we're getting out a seam, okay? And then on the backside over here, we don't have a compression, all right? So technically you could have kept the original coverage here and played seam if you wanted to, okay? But I would also rather user this guy. So you're going to see me usering this guy a good amount, right? And I'm going to use the same rules. So if he works inside, I'm just going to, if there's vertical, I'm not sure, right? What did I do? Vertical, he sat down. I didn't just become a robot and sit down with them. I looked to help out on the route behind me because that's what a lot of people want to do, right? They want to run some type of pivot route, have you jump it, and then they throw that route right there. Now, me jumping into that window is a little unrealistic. The linebacker should be there. And this is really big if these guys are a little bit more spread out. But I think honestly, this technique here of get backed up with quick and then read out will probably give you some picks. And I think that's the part of the defense that I think they are game planning for certain people. They are not allowing certain people to run routes that they like to run. They're making people play left-handed and making offensive coordinators wonder what kind of technique is that, okay? If you don't want to use either of the guys, you could just honestly just not play seam, okay? And the only reason why I like playing seam, to be honest with you, is really versus corner routes. So if I got a team that came out in 2x2 spread and they run a corner combination, that's really the only time that I like it. Otherwise, it's really not the best coverage. And even versus a wheel route, it kind of gets beat a lot of times. So overall, it's not the best coverage versus 2x2 spread, really. So we're going to kind of make it better, all right? So first option is just basically putting whoever you want into a curl flat, putting both sides into a curl flat if you want. And then also the other option is just to user one side as well. Okay, so now let's quickly go into, actually, let me see if I have an example here of a wheel route. I don't. Okay, let's just quickly go into 3x1. Okay, so 3x1 would be a little bit different. The weak side of 3x1, if you play cover 3 seam, is always going to really just play cover 3 seam rules. You're going to have one matching one if he goes vertical. He's mod technique. Outside, man, if he goes outside or deep. Then you have your seam flat player on the backside over here. He's going to match the running back on wheels, so that's pretty good. The side over here is actually playing just regular cover 3. So you actually don't have to make any adjustments here all right, besides maybe just getting your guys into position to play regular cover three, because they're going to play on the right-hand side cover three. So versus 3-by-1, from what I've seen on film, these guys like to press the backside. Oops. They like to do things like press the backside, get that guy, if you have a good corner, I'm trying to get this guy to press. When Madden gets wonky sometimes, you can kind of play around with that if you want. Now, one thing that I'm going to do, though, is what? I'm a little bit nervous about bubbles and things like that, especially if the tight end was in line, right? So you're going to see me this guy sometimes and use the same rule. Okay, if 2 or 3 go behind the line of scrimmage, I'm going to go play that bubble. I might even move in a little bit, right? Give myself some body presence over here. And then if he goes vertical, I'm going to basically stay on top and then fall off. He goes outside to the flat, so I'm just going to play curl flat. If he goes inside underneath, I'm going to play curl flat. Okay. The only thing that'd be a little bit different, I talk about China's, but that's okay. So I want to be in this window right there. Okay. I want to be in that curl flat window on a 2 out to the flat. Now, if you know you've done this enough and people know it, then eventually you can just go take it away too. So that's pretty cool. But this is one coverage. This is one formation that you don't have to worry about actually taking the seam flat and turning it off. You don't, because there's no compression there, or the seam flat's going to play normal. Okay. Now, if we do get 3-by-1 nub formation, this is where you do need to take the. Let me see if I can find an example here. The backside cannot play match rules over here to the weak side. Okay. Because of this issue right here, if the running back goes out to the flat and you are in seam, the corner will not play the corner route. Okay, so you can't do that. It's almost as if I wish I really did have 3 skies, so I don't have to worry about making any audibles over here. But your options are to just put this guy into a curl flat like I talked about. You know what's happening over here, right? This is nothing new. So the left side is the same thing that we talked about. The other thing you can do, if you really want to get froggy with it, guys, you can actually just man up people, right? You could take this safety and man them up on the running back, take this corner and man them up on the tight end, or vice versa. Right? And then you have to be the wall player if you do that, though. You have to be this player. So if anybody crosses across from the left side of the field, you have to now match it to the right. So we're basically playing man match over here, right? And we're just working it out. That's just the compression stuff that you have to always think about anytime we play 3 seam. Sorry, I can't make it easier for you guys. Madden, of course, makes it harder for us, okay? So that's 3-by-1, okay? Empty. So if you get empty formation, we still want to run this. That's the one cool thing. This is not something that we're going to be in, like, we can run this defense versus all formations, okay? Left side of the field, we're fine. We know what? We have seam rules. If you want to keep that going, keep it going. If you don't, you can just I would actually use this side and play the technique that we talked about. Over here, we're playing our cover 3 rules, so you know that. If you want to use this side, right, because you're worried about 3 running a vertical, you can kind of use the technique we talked about, right? So 2 works out, good. I'm going to sit here now, right? But in general, if 2 was to go vertical, I would carry him for about 10 to 15 yards. And then once he gets to about safety level, I would let him go. Okay. All right. So that's that. So I just wanted to show you that technique. Is it great? I don't know. We're going to find out. Okay. And we're going to take a look at quarters real quick, because that's going to be even easier. And a lot of cover 6 is really what I want to do. Quarters coverage, right? So let's go against quarters. Let's go 2-by-2. And again, I really like using the nickel because I feel like it gives you a lot of flexibility to do things. But we know in quarters coverage, we don't have to worry about 2 vertical. Thank God, right? So all we have to worry about is behind the line of scrimmage bubbles. Otherwise, play curl flat, right? And then once you learn the route combinations, I like to sit outside number 2 once I know that he's inside, wait for him to come back to me. If not, I'm also looking to help out on 1. So quarter flat, you should feel really good because you have this safety right behind you. So this is very easy. I know the route, so I'm kind of cheating on this one. He works kind of up the field. I don't have to I don't have to worry about up the field. I kind of just sit there like I just did. I just kind of sit there and I know I become a 3 receiver and I can just go play the curl. I can go play the flat. I think that's going to make people's life very hard, okay? On the weak side over here, anytime the weak side is here, this side has to match, in my opinion. I mean, we can sit here and play around with this if we want, but they need to just play match to number 2. We can sit here and kind of play around with this and this guy and try to get in that window if we want. But a lot of times the weak side, you're going to have to match number 2, especially when it comes to 3-by-1, okay? Number 2 weak, I should say. So let's just jump into 3-by-1 real quick. And 3x1 is going to be pretty self-explanatory with a lot of the stuff. But let's just go with the backside over here. We're going to have the backside quarter flat defender. He's just going to, we can put him man to man and let him match up. Okay. And then on the backside, we have the corner. We're going to just basically play with make rules on the backside, right? So you can let this guy actually rock out and play his normal quarter flat. Let's know that he doesn't really match it fast enough, but backside rules are backside rules. We're going to let that happen. We'll let this guy play the poacher. And then now the quarter flat defender, right? This is where you could take him and put him into curl flat if you want, because you don't have to worry about anybody going deep. Or you can use this guy if you're worried about bubbles and things like that, and you want to kind of mess around here. So he goes up, you don't have to worry about it. I think the one route combination that I have to really be ready for is what I just saw there. You know, the computer actually plays that route pretty well. You know, this guy actually does a good job of getting like slowing down number 2. But the computer itself doesn't do a great job of taking away number 2 there. So that's something that we might have to look into, that route combination, specifically the indie route. But honestly, if we want to use just how it is, maybe we just sit there and then we just react to it, right? That's probably it right there, okay? Backside corner, we should try to press if we can, but at the same time, this is Madden. That doesn't work that well this year, so I understand that, okay? So I'm not going to beef on that at all. Another thing that I'm going to take a look at here, I can't do it here, guys. Actually, I'll leave that one alone for another tape. Cover 6, really, is probably the best coverage, though, right? Because now the backside is taken care of with the cover 2 on the backside. We don't have to worry about the routes we were just getting beaten on with the curl flats and things like that. But the front side over here, okay, the one thing that we're going to do here, guys, is this is going to be a little bit different now. We're playing cover 6, but we're playing it with the rules of, we are playing it with no match rules, cover 6. This is going to be a little bit interesting, right? Because what would happen is in this cover 6 rules, actually, we would want this guy to work up with 3. So if you call cover 6 against this formation in particular, 3x1 spread, turn match off, okay, and rock out, okay? Knowing that at least if it goes vertical, this safety here is going to play between 2 and 3. And if you want to play it the Demeco way, okay, letting it, this also applies to a little bit of playing stuff in the Fangio language. 4 quarters versus 3x1. Let's go versus all verticals. Okay, 4 verts. All right, now take your backside and put it into a cover 2. So you have cover 2 on the backside. Okay. Take this guy, you can put him into a hook. Okay. And then now you know that this safety here is playing quarters rules on 2. This is very similar to the Jim Swartz style. He doesn't play a lot of actual palms. As a linebacker, you have to run with 3. Okay, so that's your responsibility here. So it's going to say quarters, but you have to now know I got to run with 3. Okay, and that's your responsibility. I don't have match on, do I? That's what happened there. I apologize. Hold on. Let me just turn match on real quick. So that would be the only thing about cover 6. Cover 6 actually won't just a match is on there. That was weird. Let me do that one again. Something must have happened there. Let's do that again. All right, 4 verticals. And also the disguise is really nice here too, right? Because you're getting a nice little, they don't know exactly what you're in. So we're playing, over here we're playing cover 4, you have to stay with 3. This is like no different than if it was empty formation where you have to stay with 3, okay? All right, so that's where we are with cover 6. You probably have to work that out, or if you want to play with that nickel, to turn match off, okay? Or just play the sticks and you can go from there, okay? So really what I'm telling you guys is that we're playing cover 4 and cover 6, really with just the nickel playing curl flat. And then we're playing 3 seam with most of the time the player to the strong side playing curl flat, side where number 3 is playing curl flat. Okay, and we're just going to play out the routes from there. And the best way to do it is to user that guy or girl, user that guy, okay, and try to just play around with it yourself, try to take away some of those easy reads that people like to make. Other great thing about this is that you come out in 3 seam, right, versus 2x2, let's just say, and people are trying to use the technique that I taught you about, like, hey, you can look at you can look at the alignment of where this guy is. Right now, we can kind of play around, right? We can do that, right, and then we can kind of play our routes and rock out, and then we can also now we can also do this. So that was cover 3 with us using and playing around, looking like we shaded left to right. Now we call cover 1, right? We call cover 1, we check the cover 3 seam, right? Looks like we just shaded, right? Let's go back to cover 1. Let's say we're playing with the linebacker, right? And now we do want to shade. Let's shade that guy, right? Just shade him inside, right? And then people think, oh, you're doing the cover 3 seam stuff or you're using the linebacker. So nope, it's actually cover 1 now. You know what I'm saying? So just think about that. And then there's some other fronts that we're going to start using some more that give us even better disguise, right? The double mug stuff doesn't show the leverage correctly. So let's think about these things, Ben. Let's talk about it some more. Demeco Ryans, we're going to get back into the seam world. We're going to use it only sometimes. We're going to kind of use the seam where it fits, okay? And I'm going to start talking about maybe some routes that it works against. And some routes it doesn't. I can tell you right now, if you got a team that's running the run and shoot and they're running the post wheel combination, don't call 3 seam to that. It's not going to work. All right, you better get your safety or your seam flat player out of seam coverage. He's going to get burnt. Okay, he's going to have to cover that wheel, and he glitches out a lot of times, and he doesn't cover the wheel. Okay, so just know that. All right, we'll talk more later, guys. Appreciate you guys hanging out with me this long, and I'll talk to you later. Peace.